Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of DevDrawer. Today we're going to be continuing where we left off on the last video, just because I told you I'd split it up into a few different videos, but I didn't want to take too long. So this is going to be continuing creating your own online documents storage using React to build the framework, but then using README files in order to update it without having to rebuild from React. So let's get started. All right. Inside of this docs layout, let's just go ahead and create the file. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go into it, but for right now, we're just going to do const docs layout. Here, and then I think for right now, I'm just going to return this so that we can actually have something here, and then we just need to export it. And I'm not exporting it as part of the actual creation of it because I'm going to be adding some other functions, and this is just a easier way for me to, since it's going to be a larger component, keep everything kind of where it needs to go. Okay, so now we have this apps our docs layout. We need to go to our apps folder, and let's just import this. Import docs layout from components docs layout. All right, so now you can see it redirected us to this, but we're not currently getting anything. We're just returning a blank, but our apps.js is working. Okay, so while we're here, let's go ahead and modify this. So what we want to do is whenever you get to a page like general information, it's going to be looking at the headers and the section one is going to be looking at the page information, and we want to display it in a certain way. So we have it in an order that tells us which order that we want to put it in. So let's go in here and we're going to do if window dot docs index, or not window dot docs index section. Let me move this down so we can see it. So we have that. If it's not doing this, we're just going to return null. So if it does have a docs index or a section from a document index, let's do const files equals window dot docs index section, and then const file promises equals files dot map async file. So just so I'm not going to be reading out the entire thing. Basically, what this is doing is it's just looking through the files that we have in the documents and checking for their order. So I'm not going to read out everything that I'm doing because it's kind of hard to read and type at the same time. So I'll just read out things as we're doing it. So right now we're defining the docs folder, and we're going to be passing in the section and the file. Oops. There. Let's try, and then let's catch an error. So let's display it as a console error. File. Let me just display the error, and then return file. And we're just going to, I guess, do file replace MD and order 999. That's just basically like a fallback for us. Okay, so now that we have the information that we're needing to get, let's go in here, and if it's not found, we do that. If it is found, do const response equals await fetch file path, and row new error. Okay, so if we are able to access the file, do const text equals await response text. And because it's a Markdown file, it's a lot easier to work with, just because we can interpret the Markdown in a way that is expected. But that's one of the reasons why we had to install one of the programs that we did, or one of the package object. I don't know. It's one of the libraries. There we go. One of the libraries. Having a hard time thinking. Okay, so let's do a match. And inside of this match, we're going to check for the actual like dot, or not the dash part that we put on top of the document. So let's do a regular expression. And we're going to do this dash, and then look for everything in between it. And then follow it up with the dash. Okay, I think that should do it. So let's see, dash, checking for the letters in between. Yeah, okay. So now we have our metadata match. So if it matches, or if it doesn't match, so if it doesn't match, we want to return file.replace. So basically the same thing that we're doing down here. So let me take this, copy this, and put it right here. Resize that a little bit. Okay. Okay, so if it does find something, let's do constant metadata equals metadata match. I'm going to be pulling the first object that's out of it because that is the order. And then const order match equals metadata dot match. And now we're going to use another regular expression to pull out the order. And then we just want to return that number. Okay. So that will, this will check to see if it has the dash. This will check to see what the actual order is. And then we're going to return file dot replace dot md, and we're just removing that file extension because in the URL we don't want it to have it on there. And then the order is going to be order match going to grab that, and we're making it into an integer, or we're just going to pass 999. What am I forgetting here? Oh, can't do that there. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so now that we got our actual like file promise, so it's telling us what the file is and what the order is. Let's do const sorted files equals await promise dot all and file promises. And then we're going to sort it by the order that we want. So let's do A, B, A dot order minus B dot order, A dot order minus B dot order. And then let's return sorted files dot length greater than 0. Sorted files 0 dot file or nothing. Okay, so now we have this this file set up. We need to come back into our redirect first file, and we're going to actually use it. So if it doesn't find something, it's going to redirect us back to the main file. So let's set up a use effect. And let's just pass this in. So get first order file section dot in first file if first file. Then we're going to do a navigate to the actual doc. So doc section first file. So basically, when it loads on the page, it's going to load the very first file based on the order that you have them in. You replace true. There we go. So that's if it is, and then set redirecting to false. And then here, let's go ahead and pass in section and navigate so that it can use that without any kind of overflow errors. And if redirecting, return null. Okay, I think that should cover that. Okay, so now our docs layout. So we should technically be displaying something here with the sections in it, but we don't actually have any content inside of our docs layout. There is a lot of stuff that we need to do here, and I'll try to go over it as I'm getting through it. So I guess let's import the things that we need first. All right, so let's do import use state, use effect. No, we don't need to do use memo from React. Okay, so we're doing use state, use effect. Let's also do import use params and use navigate. And then we're going to import the Markdown renderer, which we haven't created yet. I can't do the Markdown render. I can't render the Markdown without creating the Markdown renderer. So the Markdown renderer it's a lot as well. So I don't know if I want to go over the entire thing in this video or just give you the file. Here, let's go in here. Let's create a new file, and we're going to call this one Markdown renderer.js. So the Markdown renderer, a lot of the code is coming from the remark and rehype and just basically information that I found in React Markdown package. So I'm not going to. Basically, I guess I can just copy and paste some of it and just explain that I've been doing it. So of course, importing all the things that I need to do, and then we're going to slugify it. So this function right here basically just takes the text from the what's being sent to it, and it trims it down and replaces spaces with dashes and stuff like that. So this is the URL. Let's add a comment here. So it generates a slug. So URL friendly. URL friendly from text. Okay, so the next part is we're going to remove the metadata from the Markdown content, which is like the dash 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 that we did. So let's do this. We're going to remove metadata from Markdown. So that way it's not displayed on the page. And then, so we use the headings as like the sub navigation on the right. So this function that I created extracts those headers. So let's do extract headings H2 and H3 from Markdown content for nav. Okay, so this function right here basically just does that. It extracts the headers, it takes the H2s, and it's going to put them as like parents, and then the H3 is children underneath them. And I'll show you how that works whenever we actually get it there. Okay, so now I'm going to paste this other function that is actually the Markdown renderer. And this is from the Markdown renderer, the React Markdown package that I'm importing into this. But basically, this is renders Markdown content for a give section and page. And then finally, we're just going to again export it. Okay, so that's our Markdown renderer. A lot of this code, it's created from the actual Markdown. So the only thing that would be like really different would be that I'm telling it that I want it to hit a dynamic page that's loaded from the URL, the section page. And then that's kind of what we built at the top to make it URL friendly. And then it just runs the React Markdown component, which is part of this library that I imported, React Markdown here. And we don't need this. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much what that does. So now going back over here to our docs layout, we need to do some more imports. So first we're going to do import Markdown renderer. And the rest of it's going to be MUI stuff that I'm going to, I'll take that in a minute. So let's do import box from MUI material. And then let's also import grid from at MUI material. And I think grid 2 is the one that I'm still using. And then we have other components that we can create for like the header, the footer, and all this kind of stuff. And we will get to that part in a minute. So first thing we want to do inside of this is create a const called get sections. And this is going to be async. And inside of this, we're going to return new promise. And inside of this promise, we're going to do resolve const check interval. Yeah, set interval. And if window dot docs index, we're going to clear the interval. And resolve object dot keys window dot docs index. Then right here, let's just add like a 100 millisecond delay. Okay, so we have our function to extract it. So let's create another function to, I'm sorry, get sections. The next one is going to be extract metadata content. And let's do, I think we can go back over here because we're going to be needing this, where we're going to be checking for the actual things. So I think that's fine. Constant metadata match. Text needs to be replaced with the content. And then, so if metadata match, we're going to return. So if it doesn't have a match for that, we're just going to return the order because we're currently looking for that. And then the title is just going to be untitled. Let's do const metadata equals metadata match 1 and const meta order match. And then we need to do the same thing that we did in here. So where's our order match? Here. So we're just going to copy this. And that should be fine. And then const title match equals metadata dot match. And this is going to be kind of the same way as the order. And we're just going to replace that with that. Okay, so grabs our order, grabs our title. And then we're going to return the order, which is going to be order match, or we're going to parse the int. Order match 1 if it finds it. And nope. 10. Or we're going to again set it to 999. And then the title, we're going to do title match. So title match 1 dot trim or untitled. Okay, so that's where we're using to extract our metadata. Okay. Now let's actually get the Markdown file. So const get Markdown files equals async section, and it's going to grab all of the Markdown files inside of that section. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Get markdown files. If section doesn't exist, let's just return blank object or blank array, whichever one that is in React. So turn new promise. Okay, so this one is a lot of code. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code. So it's essentially replicating what we're doing up here for get sections. It's just adding a little bit more information into it. So I'll kind of go over it. So we have this promise. It does a set interval like the other one. It clears it, and then it goes through and maps all of the files that are within this section. And then it grabs the information from it. And then if it can't find it, it does this, and then it sorts them based on the order. So kind of the same thing that we did previously. It's just now a little bit more specific. Okay, so now let's actually get into being able to display something. Let's create a few variables. So we're going to do const section page, and this is going to be using params. And then const navigate, it's going to be equal to use navigate. Const files, set files, and let's just make the state of that be blank whenever it loads. So let's do, we don't have the rest of that code built out yet. All right, so let's throw in a use effect. And get sections, then set sections. Need to define here. So const sections, set sections. Again, use state nada. Okay. So once we get the sections, we set them. We want to check to see if the section, if it has a section, then get markdown files section then file list, so we can actually display the files. And we're going to do set files file list, and this would give us, you know, all of the information that's required inside of that. If page file list dot length is greater than 0, const first file equals file list 0 dot file, and then navigate to /docs section first file place equals true. All right, let me minimize that so we can see what we're doing. Okay. And I know this is more or less y'all just watching me how I'm doing it. But like I said, I didn't create this to create a tutorial specifically. It was more or less something that I needed. And I figured that, you know, there may be some other people out there that would like to learn how to create their own as well. Just to kind of do it themselves. Okay. Set page title, current page, current title, untitled. Okay. And then inside of this use effect, pass in section, page, navigate. Set page title is not. Did I not? Yeah, I didn't do that. Okay, so let's do const page title, set page title. This is going to be equal to use state untitled. Capitalize that. And that file. Where am I doing that? I think first file, file list, file. This needs to be first file. All right, so I'm going to stop this one again because we're getting close to the 30-minute mark. And then I think I still have like probably another 45 minutes or so of this video, maybe a little bit less. But this should get you to a part where you kind of got the React system is like maybe 80-85% built, and then we have to go in there and basically make the front end of it work. So stay tuned. I'm gonna try to push out another video tomorrow, hopefully, and we'll be able to hit all 3 of these videos within 3 days, and you'll be able to complete the entire tutorial. But again, it's well worth it if you want to do local document storage, help desk ticket stuff. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.